Hello, and welcome to the WordPress development course. This is one of the most comprehensive courses on WordPress development around. By the end of this course, you'll have a solid understanding of the WordPress core and its APIs. WordPress is a very powerful CMS and currently powers over 60 million websites from around the world. That number continues to rise every day. The average WordPress and PHP developer makes anywhere between $55,000 to $85,000 a year. There are currently about 250,000 jobs related to WordPress posted on various job sites right now. Dozens are being added every day. Currently, WordPress has about 65% of the market share. If you look at other platforms from Drupal to Squarespace, you'll find that the user base for each platform is small compared to WordPress. Squarespace, for example, only takes up about 5% of the market. You can expect a more competitive and smaller job market since Squarespace's user base is small compared to WordPress. WordPress, on the other hand, is very in demand and provides a lot of benefits. Not only is it in demand, you'll find that the hours are flexible and you can work from anywhere in the world. Its popularity is due to the fact that you can create any kind of website you'd like. You can create a simple blog out of the box, or you can create a full-blown social network. WordPress can be used to create e-commerce sites where you can sell both physical and digital products. You can even sell services. You can also create directories where users can find information about any subject. You don't have to use it for big projects either. Out of the box, you can use WordPress for smaller sites like your own personal portfolio or small business. One of the greatest perks of developing for WordPress is that it is mostly front-end agnostic. What I mean by this is you can use any CSS or JavaScript framework you want. WordPress gives you complete freedom. As a result, creating responsive sites is pretty easy to pull off. By taking this course, you'll learn how to customize your WordPress site by creating custom plugins and themes. Here's an overview of what you'll learn throughout this course. Currently, you're in Section 1. In Section 1, we'll go over what WordPress is and what you need to know about the various resources available to you. We'll then start setting up an environment, the stack, and WordPress itself. We'll also dive into alternative options besides the one I go over. This section will be brief and the shortest section out of them all. In Section 2, we'll take a standard HTML template that I provide and take the first few steps to convert it into a basic functioning WordPress theme. The HTML template I provide has no specific preparations made for WordPress. This allows you to learn every step you need to take to make a template WordPress ready. As you will see, WordPress will work with any template you provide. You'll have full control over your CSS and HTML structure choices. This section is broken down to be easy to understand and simple. In Section 3, we'll then continue developing the theme by creating templates. The template system WordPress provides out of the box is simple but very flexible. By the end of it, you'll understand how the WordPress template system works, along with getting to know the customizer for adding custom theme options. In Section 4, we'll go over any templates I may have skipped over in the previous sections. The templates presented in this section aren't as popular as the other templates, but you may need to know about them randomly in the future. In Section 5, we'll start talking about plugin development. This is where we will really get the opportunity to extend the WordPress core. We'll discuss the various APIs you can use in a practical way. Some of the topics we'll get into will be creating custom post types, authentication, hooks, AJAX requests, security, and work with the database. By the end of this section, you'll have a better understanding of how WordPress works. In Section 6, we're going to step away from WordPress for a moment. As of WordPress 5, Gutenberg was integrated into the core. There are a lot of things you can do with Gutenberg, but in order to extend it, you need to know some JavaScript concepts. For those who aren't comfortable with things like the command line, Node.js, Webpack, React, etc., then this section is for you. I talk about these things and give you a solid foundation to help you get started. Once we've talked about those things, then in Section 7, I'll introduce Gutenberg development. I'll talk about how to set up your project and building a custom block from scratch. We'll also talk about how to use the toolbar and how to use components provided by WordPress. Afterwards, in Section 8, We'll continue with Gutenberg development by talking about the other components provided by Gutenberg, things like rich text, the media uploader, form controllers, etc. We'll cover anything that may have been missed related to Gutenberg. In Section 9, we'll explore various APIs to create things like widgets and shortcodes. We'll even talk about how to authenticate and register users. This will get us into topics such as security and nonces. In Section 10, we'll talk about creating admin interfaces and setting up forms. We'll manually process those forms with various APIs. After that, I'll show you some alternative and faster methods for performing those tasks to make you an efficient developer. In Section 11, we'll start talking about BuddyPress and WooCommerce theme development. I'm going to demystify some of the concepts behind these two plugins. By the end, you'll have a better understanding on how these two plugins work and even understand how the WordPress core works. You'll find yourself being comfortable navigating the files and extending anything you want. In Section 12, we'll wrap things up by adding a few more features to the plugin and theme we developed. We'll finalize things by learning about debugging, unit testing, translations, child themes, RTL support, and so much more. Everything you need to do before releasing your work to the public. We'll even talk a little about licensing. In Section 13, we'll talk about some advanced WordPress concepts. It's a very experimental section and not really required to watch. However, you can learn a thing or two to help with more larger projects. For the first 12 sections, this course focuses on developing one plugin and one theme. A lot of courses out there will teach you how to build various projects, so you can get practice applying the same thing. However, the problem with this is that a lot of the examples aren't practical. I like to approach things differently. Rather than give you 10 different projects that have no real-world usage, we build a more realistic theme and plugin. By doing this, the size will get pretty big. This forces you to learn about organization and efficiency. You'll experience my workflow and how I would tackle big projects. Don't be afraid though. By the end of this course, you'll have the confidence to navigate your way around the project we built. This approach allows you to learn what you need to know as problems arise. By taking this route, you'll learn how to apply certain concepts in a more practical situation. You'll also develop a good workflow as you continue with this course. WordPress comes with over 10 different APIs, and you'll learn how to use most of them by the end of this course. The great thing about WordPress is that all APIs are available to you whether you're working on themes or plugins. So the things you learn while creating themes can also be applied to plugins and vice versa. We'll take a deeper look at this as the course progresses. Before you even begin this course, there are a couple of requirements you need to know or have. You will need a good understanding of PHP, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You'll also need to know some jQuery. You'll also need a local server to work on. This can be your computer. If you don't have one, then you'll learn how to set one up in the next couple of lectures. You'll also need a text editor. Any will do. For this course, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. Lastly, you'll need a healthy thirst for learning. There is a lot of content to digest, so you'll definitely be kept busy. We will mainly focus on working with WordPress's inbuilt APIs, so we will not be covering most of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. WordPress doesn't require you to learn any special HTML, CSS, or JavaScript code. As you'll learn, WordPress is extremely flexible on the front end. I will provide you with a static HTML design that will convert into a WordPress theme. If you wish, you can use your own theme, but I highly advise against it while you're learning. Your code should be similar to mine before you decide to freestyle anything.